Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I want to share with you our homeschool schedule. If you're new here, I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So we are a month into our homeschool year, and we seem to have found a nice rhythm and groove, so I thought it'd be a good time to share how we organize everything, especially since we do some curriculums that have multiple resources. So if you're curious what I'm using for any of my kids, I will link my kindergartner's curriculum here. I will link my 3rd graders curriculum here and our family subjects up here. You want to see specific things that we're using. Today I'm just going to talk about how we organize those things. So as you saw in the thumbnail, I use a teacher happy planner, super easy to use. How I organize it is, there are different boxes here. So what I do is I divide this into my morning, what I have to get done in the morning, and then I do my kindergartners core work, my 3rd graders core work is this one, and then I do my 3rd graders ELA stuff, which he has to do for that. Next one is our torchlight, or kind of our electives, what we have to do for that. This is a miscellaneous box, and then right down here I just put our meals for the week. So breakfast, lunch, dinner through the entire week. So that's how I organize that real quick. So for my kindergartners core work, well first let's start with how we start our day. So I get up at 6:30. My daughter, 8-year-old, gets up shortly after that. My 4-year-old probably wakes up around 7:30 or 8. My husband gets my 1.5-year-old out of bed around 7:30. We do not actually start school till 9:30. And the reason for that is my 1.5-year-old takes a nap at 9:30. He sleeps from 9:30 to 12:30. That is when we choose to do our core subjects like reading, math, because my daughters need my focused attention for that, so it works best when my son is sleeping. So we get up, have breakfast. They're responsible for cleaning up their dishes. They're responsible for getting dressed, brushing their hair, and brushing their teeth. All these things have to be done by school, which isn't usually an issue since it's 9:30. That's actually pretty late in the morning. I'd prefer to, get up going right away, but we have to work around my son's schedule right now. That's just what season of life we're in, and that's completely fine. So everyone's had breakfast done. When my kids are done, they get playtime. They usually have about an hour. They'll sometimes go outside. Sometimes they'll play with their toys, whatever. That's their free time. And from about 8:30 to 9:30 is when I accomplish my chores. And it seems weird saying chores when you're an adult, but my responsibilities in the house, like laundry, the dishwasher, I try to tackle one main cleaning project every day. So for example, Tuesdays I make sure I dust and wipe one level of our house. We have a 2-story house. Wednesdays I make sure the fridge is cleaned out, there's no expiring food, so I know when I make my meal plan later in the week that what needs to get used first. Also, since we're living in a pandemic, I make sure on Wednesdays I disinfect all the doorknobs and highly touched surfaces like the faucet handles and light switches, different things like that. Thursday, one week I'll do sheets, and the other Thursday I will do a deep cleaning project. Like this last Thursday, I scrubbed down all the chairs and table in my dining room because they were gross with 3 kids. And then Fridays, I always tackle the bathrooms. We have 2.5 bathrooms in our house. So that's just a quick view of between 8:30 and 9:30, that's what I'm doing. My kids are playing in the other room with each other, entertaining themselves for that amount of time. So at 9:30, I lay my son down. And then as I am getting him ready for bed, my girls know what to do. They've picked up all their stuff, they get their stuff out. My 8-year-old goes straight into her core work, which is her things she doesn't need me for, which is her writing. And again, check that video out if you want to see. She does her writing. She does her vocab, wordly wise, by herself. And then if she finishes those before I'm done, she will either do typing or Prodigy, 2 different online programs, free. And then my 4.5-year-old will get out her stuff. She does a couple things. She can do a couple things, but usually by the time I have him laid down, she's ready. She takes a bit longer than my 8-year-old to get going. So with her, I'll do her core work, which is her writing, her calendar. We will do her math and her all about reading. Again, this takes about 30 to 45 minutes. And during that time, my 8-year-old finishes whatever independent work she has, and then she will do either typing or Prodigy, or sometimes she'll just join us for the games we're doing with my kindergartner. So after that, it's about, I would say, 10:30, yeah, 10:30, and my 4.5-year-old kindergartner is done for the day. So she goes off and does her own thing for a little bit, goes and plays, reads. Then I do my one-on-one work with my 8-year-old who's in 3rd grade. So during this time, first thing we tackle is math. Math is one of the subjects she struggles with and has the most anxiety, so we get it done right away when she's focused and when I can be one-on-one with her. So she does her math right away. And then after that, we all break and everybody has lunch. So my 1.5-year-old is still upstairs sleeping. My girls, I make their lunches in the morning. They just get it out of the fridge, sit down, start eating. I usually try to eat during this time and rotate any laundry that needs to be rotated. And after lunch, they get some, usually lunch is, I would say, probably around 11 o'clock. And they're usually done by 11:30. They don't take long to eat. So at 11:30, I will work with my 8-year-old on her reading, her English language arts. We do lightning lit, and then some days we also combine Michael Clayton Thompson with that. Again, that takes about 45 minutes of concentrated time between us to get it done, and she does some independent reading for that as well. Usually she reads 2 or 3 chapters of a chapter book herself during that time, so that's part of that 45 minutes time. We're not actually sitting at a table doing table work for 45 minutes. Some of that is reading. During this time, my 4.5-year-old goes off and plays. After she's cleaned up her lunch, 1.5-year-old's still sleeping. So by 12:30, which is when my 1.5-year-old usually wakes up, math is done, reading's done, my kindergartner is completely done for the day. So my 1.5-year-old, I get him up, clean him up, he has lunch, sit him down at the table. That's when we start our torchlight. And again, if there's any lulls in between, the kids completely have the option of playing freely. So we will come together and do our torchlight, which is our group subjects together, and that ranges in day to day about what we do, and some days we do history, some days we do science. It rotates how much of stuff we have. Usually Mondays are our heavier day, so probably from 12:30 to 1, my 1-year-old will be eating his lunch, and that gives me enough time to get through our read aloud. We usually read about 3 chapters every day from our read aloud book from Torchlight, and that gives me enough time to, after the chapters are done, clean him up. My kids again can play for a little bit while I get him cleaned up and everything's ready. And when he's done, we put him in the family room. We all get together, the baby gate goes up, and we work on the rest of our subjects. Usually the rest of our subjects will take probably an hour and a half, depending on what we have to do. Like I said, Mondays are usually the heavier days where we do history and different things. Sometimes the days are lighter, like usually I would say Wednesdays. We're probably done by 1:30 with everything for the entire day, so it just depends on what load we have. And Fridays are our least heavy day, because Fridays we don't do her reading, her lightning lit, because it is a 4-day-a-week program. So we leave Fridays for things like horseback riding lessons and meeting with homeschool friends to do different nature curriculums, different things like that. So that's a brief overview of how our week goes and how I schedule it. Now, I fill all of this out on Sunday nights. Well, I wouldn't say probably Sunday afternoon after church. I go through all of our curriculum, I go through the math, see what we're learning that week. If I need any books, manipulatives, anything from the library, I will make sure I request any books I'll need for the following week. I'm always a week ahead with the book list, so to make sure I have time to get everything. But Sundays, it probably takes me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to make sure I'm set for the week. And then I have no other prep I have to do during the week. Because like I said, during the week, it's one thing to another. So I don't have a lot of time to make copies or, read the lesson to make sure I get everything. I do that Sunday as my prep day, so the rest of the week flies more quickly. So if you have any questions about anything or want to see how I set up my actual planner, leave them in the comments below, but thanks for watching.